So today's video is going to be what is on my fall TBR for fall of 2025. These are all the books that I'm hoping to get to this fall season. We are going to be going into fall very soon, like next week. So I am filming this the weekend before launch weekend at Apple, which means that we launch the new phones, the new watches, and the new AirPods, sorry. So anyway, sorry, somebody messaged me. Okay, so anyway, let's go into the books that I want to read. So let's start off with some more fallish, really fall books. So these are like some fall romances and some like witchy books that I would like to get to this fall. So the first one, I just picked this up yesterday and I've been seeing a lot of hype about this one. And that is If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This one says, get comfy with this cozy slow burn romance set in the autumnal glow of 1997 small town Vermont. It just sounds really cute. And I'm definitely going to be reading this next month because this is like the time for fall romances, obviously. And for me, I don't really read fall romances until it's actually fall. Like, even though I'm getting into like the fall mood and the fall vibes, you know, in the beginning of September, I don't really like reading like fall set books until the actual fall, even though I've read like probably 2 already, which was People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. That one was good. And The Night Circus, which I just finished yesterday, and I loved that, by Erin Morgenstern. I was putting off that book for so long. And I was also going to include some books that I recommend that I have read and loved in the fall after this, but I think I'm just going to make this my fall TBR video because I feel like we'll be here forever if I do some fall recs as well, but I might do it in a separate video, but probably not. So anyway, I really want to read this one. This one is supposed to give like very fall Gilmore Girls vibes, and everybody's like obsessed with Gilmore Girls in the fall. For me, I don't watch Gilmore Girls really anymore, also because I only watched that with my ex-boyfriend, and honestly, I don't want to do anything that reminds me of him anymore, but also like I just don't really rewatch things like that obsessively. I don't need to put it on in the background because 99% of the time I'm just listening to audiobooks or watching YouTube videos when I'm like cleaning or doing other things. I don't even put on music. I'm just putting on an audiobook 99% of the time. So anyway, this one sounds really cute, so I really do want to read this one. And then the other fall romance that I'm doing a buddy read with 2 of my other book besties. We all picked up this book at the same time and we all want to read it in the fall, so we just figured we were just all going to read it at the same time. And that is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie Cicatelli Cook. She's a very interesting name. And it says, Lucy Kane hates pumpkin spice lattes, which I'm not really a fan of them either, but this is going to get me into the mood. Definitely in the fall mood. This is like literally the book that like screams freaking fall to me. Like, are you kidding me with the sprayed edges and everything? And this also was included in any purchase of anything at the cafe at Barnes & Noble. You would get this book for $5, so that's why we all picked it up then. And it says, which is a problem because A, Lucy lives in the quaint New England town of Briar Glen, where everyone loves all things autumn, and B, she's a barista at her mom's coffee shop, Cup of Joe. As the first fall leaves descend upon Briar Glen, Lucy and her mom gear up for a busy season. But then a Java Junction, a multinational coffee chain, opens a store literally across the street, home of the world-famous pumpkin spice latte. To make matters worse, it turns out that Jack Harper, the new kid in school and Lucy's secret crush, is a son of the owners. Talk about mixing business with pleasure. If Cup of Joe wants to survive the competition from Java Junction, Lucy will have to set aside her feelings for the popular drink and Jack to make this the coziest, pumpkin spiciest season ever. Sorry, I didn't even read the synopsis of this book. but it wasn't that long. So yeah, we're definitely reading this together in the fall. So that most of these books are definitely going to be read. Most of them. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them, but most of them are. And also, like, I feel like buddy reads, even though I never really had done them before, this year, I felt like, and the same thing with like book club picks when I was having a book club for like 2 months, they really inspire you to pick up books that you weren't going to read anytime soon. It really does help when you're reading it with somebody else, because it's like, it's both a book that you've been wanting to get to for a while, and I feel like it just helps you pick it up more. And I've found some really great books because of that. So anyway, now let's get into a couple of witchy books. These were both on my Halloween TBR last year, but I just unfortunately didn't get to them. And the first one is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I've heard some mixed things about this book, and I think the reason why I didn't pick it up is because it is a long book. It's like 500 plus pages. But I really want to read this during like Halloween time, so I'm hoping I can get to this one. And this says, there's no such things as witches. There's no such thing as witches, but there will be. So it just sounds very intriguing, and I think it's going to be a good one. And I'm just craving some witchy books, obviously, in the fall time. So I'm hoping this is going to be one of them. And then the other one is The Honey Witch by Cindy J. Shields. I've also heard very mixed reviews about this book. And it says, the Honey Witch is cursed to never find true love, but when she meets a young woman who doesn't believe in magic, she dares to hope for more. So this is a sapphic witchy romance. And again, I wanted to get to this last year, but I simply just ran out of time. And even though I had made like a whole like Halloween TBR video and a whole like October TBR, like I do every month for my TBR videos, I just didn't feel like reading Halloween books the entire month of October. So I kind of just like wanted to read books I was like in the mood for, but also like the last week of Halloween I still read witchy books and like thrillers and stuff like that. But it kind of made me want to mood read more. So the last week or two of October, actually reading all the books that were on my October TBR, because I felt like I just put too many like Halloween books on there. So, and that was including these two books and some of the other books that I'm going to be talking about. So I'm hoping to get to both of these. And then the other witchy book, which I just didn't feel like taking out. One of my favorite authors just messaged me back. Hazel McBride just messaged me back. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so awesome. Oh my god, I have to respond. Hold on, this is so cool. I had to stop the video to respond. That made my entire day. That was freaking awesome. So anyway, so the next book that I am going to be buddy reading with my friend Becca, which I'm also buddy reading Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice with her and Felicia. This one I'm reading with Becca, and this is just a duology. And it's a witch duology. But also, I'm hoping I can get to most of the duologies that I have. I only have one, including this one is one, and then Dance of Thieves is 2, which has been on my TBR for like 5 million years. King of Scars, which is 3, and then Shadows Between Us, which is 4, and then the Daughter of the Moon Goddess duology, which is 5. So, but this one I really do want to read in the month of October, because again, this was on my TBR for last October and I didn't get to these, and I really do want to read these in October. And again, it kind of inspires me to pick them up faster because I'm reading it with somebody else. And we both own both books, so we were like, we're definitely going to buddy read this next month. And that is Night of the Witch by Sarah Raish and Beth Revis. And the second book is called A Fate of Magic, which is the Witch and Hunter's duology. So I really do want to read both of these. I just didn't feel like taking them out of my shelves because they're literally on the bottom of the stack on my shelf, so it would have been like a pain in the ass to take them out. And they had just come out with this one in paperback with the sprayed edges, and I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't wait to pick up the paperback of this one. I picked it up when it literally came out last year, and then I just simply did not get to it. But it didn't come out until like the end of October. So like honestly, by that point, I just didn't feel like reading it anymore. So I really do want to read this duology with her. So those are definitely going to be read as well because it's a buddy read. So I think that it's going to really inspire me to read those. So those are some of the, and I think we're just going to go into more fantasy books right now because Night of the Witch and everything and Honey Witch and all of that are all fantasy books. But like Honey Witch has more of like a romance plot to it. Sorry. I felt a headache coming on, so I just took some Advil. Okay, so let's go into some of the more fantasy books, and also let's talk about the other buddy read that I'm doing, so we might as well talk about them together. So this one I'm buddy reading with Felicia in October, along with Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. And you guys know, ever since I read Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I raved about it on my Goodreads and on my Instagram stories that I'm dying to read more of V.E. Schwab. And me and Felicia are going to be buddy reading this in October, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. And you guys know, I'm definitely 100% reading this in October because I just became obsessed with her writing after I read Invisible Life, and now, like, I want to read, like, every single book that she has out, but all of her other books besides Invisible Life and Bury Our Bones, they're all, like, duologies or trilogies, and y'all know I have, like, an endless amount of series that I want to read for the rest of this year. I mean, I've gotten to quite a few of the series that I wanted to read this year, like Shatter Me, Ember in the Ashes. There's plenty of other ones. I just can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But I did get to quite a few of the books that were on my 25 and 2025, and some of those are included in this video. But anyway, we figured that this was obviously absolutely perfect to read in October because it's like a vampire sapphic romance fantasy book, and I really want to read this because it's like a sapphic vampire romance. So we're definitely reading this, and again, because it's by my love V.E. Schwab, I really do and am craving more of her books, especially in the fall time. So this one is going to be really good. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. I think this one takes place in the past and the present and also possibly the future because they're vampires, so obviously they live for eternity. So very excited for this one. And next up, let's do some more fantasy books. I think this one is a vampire book. So let's stick with some of the vampire themes. And then we'll do the other vampire one because I have been kind of craving some vampire books lately. And this one I picked up with Becca as well. We might buddy read this in October as well. And I'm thinking this will, if I don't read this in October, then I'm not going to read it at all before the fall is over. So I think I'm going to read this in October too. I think I just have to move a couple of books around for my October TBR because honestly I already made the list for October. Let me just see. We'll see if I can fit it in because there are quite a few new releases in October that I want to read. I'll probably just end up reading it at the end towards the end of the month. So anyway, the next one is Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis. And we just picked this up because look at how beautiful this cover is. This just came out like 2 or 3 days ago. I think it came out September 9th. And it's just such a pretty book. So we were just so attracted to it. So this one says, so I held hands with the monster and I followed him into the woods. This is supposed to be like a vampire werewolf romance, I think. And that will be absolutely perfect to read in October. It says, Mirabella Owens grew up with legends of wolves that traveled to her Midwestern town to protect humans from vampires. Of a werewolf that fell in love with one of the undead, unraveling a blood-soaked history. But Mira stopped believing in those fairy tales years ago. She stopped believing in a lot of things after her mom left without a trace when she was only 13. As Mira begins her freshman year at Lakeland University, she's ready to leave the past behind her. Oh, it's like Vampire Werewolf Dark Academia. Ooh. She's ready to leave the past behind her. Only the past isn't finished with her yet. Strange animal attacks are occurring around campus, reopening cold cases tied to her mother's disappearance. And the only person who seems to know anything is Julian Santos, the boy who is hell-bent on getting Mira to leave campus for reasons she can't begin to understand. But Mira refuses to let him keep his secrets, not when the truth is the difference between life and death. Mira will have to accept that there is much more to the old town myths and her growing feelings for Julian than she ever could have anticipated. And as the blood moon rises, she will come to know a world will shatter her past and change her future. Ooh, that sounds really good. So yeah, this is definitely getting read in October. So I have to add that to the October TBR. Okay, next up is one of the books by my beloved author TJ Klune. I absolutely love his books, and I really do want to read this in October or possibly November. Is The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune. I got this in Book of the Month like a few months back, and I just never picked it up. But I did read The House of the Cerulean Sea duology this past March, and I read Under the Whispering Door last year, so I have read 3 of his books, but I do want to read his entire backlist. And this one just seemed like the easiest one to pick up. And also, look at this. Like, are you joking with how well it goes with my shirt? And also just like this cover just screams fall to me. And it says, we're separated by time and space, and yet somehow we're all made of dust and stars. I will never forget that. You will never be alone because I will always be with you. I feel like this book might make me cry because House of the Cerulean Sea definitely made me cry. Under Whispering Door made me sob like a baby because Under the Whispering Door is a 6-star read for me. So, and House of the Cerulean Sea was 5 stars, so I always rate his books very highly. So I really do want to read this one this month. I mean, not this month, this fall. So, and then let's do a couple more fantasy books, and then we'll get into some thriller books. So these 2 I really do want to read in October as well, or during the fall season. I don't know why I keep on saying October. Some of these books I'm not even going to get to in October. I just want to read them in the fall. This is a fall TBR video, Caitlin. Jesus. So the next one is The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. I think I've mentioned this book a couple of times on my channel. This is like a historical vampire book. I don't know if it's a vampire romance, but I got this randomly in one of the like mystery books in Barnes and Noble, and this was like one of the wrapped books. And I've been wanting to read this in like the fall time, but maybe I'll read this in like November or something, because if I don't read it now, I might just give this book away, because I don't know if I'm really that inspired to read this book at this point, because sometimes there's some books that just sit on your shelf for too long, and you're just like, am I ever going to get to these books? Maybe not. But since it's on my TBR card, I really want to try to get to this book, so I'm going to see if I can read it this fall. It doesn't really give like a short little synopsis or anything, but I kind of am feeling like reading this at some point this fall. So that is the last vampire book. And then the last fantasy book that I want to talk about well, I do have some more fantasy books, so, but I kind of want to talk about those. Well, yeah, I'll talk about these together still, and then we'll talk about some thrillers. The next one is L.K. Stevens' Silver Cloak, and this one is a new start to a new series for L.K. Stevens. And if you guys didn't know, she is the same author that wrote Our Infinite Fates, and that book definitely got a lot of hype when it came out, and I absolutely loved that book. That's the only book that I've read from Laura Stevens so far, but this is her pen name. It's Laura Stevens, sorry. It literally says Steven on the cover of this book. This L.K. Steven is her pen name for Silver Cloak, but literally it's just her first two initials rather than Laura Steven. So I don't know why I didn't make that connection, but after I heard that it was by, you know, Laura Steven, because I gave Our Infinite Fates 5 stars. I'm like, then I'm definitely picking up this book and reading it, because I've been hearing nothing but amazing things about this book. So it says, in this addictive new fantasy series set in a world where magic is fueled by pleasure and pain, an obsessive detective infiltrates a brutal gang of dark mages, knowing that one wrong move will get her killed. And I just think it sounds so good. I haven't even read the synopsis of this one, so let's read it. 2 decades ago, at the Blood Moons ruthlessly murdered Saffron Killoran's parents, destroying her idyllic childhood. Hellbent on revenge, she lies her way into Silvercloak Academy. Ooh, it's an academy, yes. The training ground for her city's elite order of detectives, with a single goal: to bring the Blood Moons to justice. But when Saf's deception is exposed rather than being cast out, she's given a rare opportunity to go undercover and tear the Blood Moons down from the inside. That's so funny that they're called the Blood Moons when I just picked up a book that's called Blood Moon, so. And Blood Moon was not even on my TBR for anything. I didn't even know that it was coming out, because it was just a new YA book on my radar yesterday, because me and Becca both saw it on the table, so we both picked it up. But when Saf's deception is exposed rather than being cast out, I already read that. Descending into a world where pleasure and pain are the most powerful currencies, Saf must commit some truly heinous deeds to keep her cover and her life. Not only are there rival gangs and sinister smuggling rings to contend with, but there's also her growing feelings for the Kingpin's tortured son, with his vicious pet fellow wolf, his dark past, and Carrie's prophecy foretelling his death at Saffron's hand. With each day testing her loyalties further, Saf finds her web of lies becoming harder to spin, and when one false step could destroy everything and everyone she's ever loved, the detective who's dedicated her life to vengeance just might die for it. I really want to read this, dude. I might add this to my TBR this month, because I have just been so into darker fantasy books this past September. Like, all I want to read is dark fantasy books, or like anything that's like super magical, or like something that's like high fantasy, but something that I think that it's going to be completely action packed. I think I'm going to really want to read this soon. So I think I'm going to move Blood Moon to October, even though I haven't even put it on my October TBR. And I'm going to put this one on my September TBR, I think, because I really, really am dying to read this book. So, and I just purchased it recently, and it's like 400 something pages, but I feel like this is going to give me serious vibes of Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang, which is like a soul destroying book for me. You guys know that that's my favorite book of all time. But this one reminds me of like a combo of The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle and Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang, because this is about rival gangs, which Dagger and the Flame is all about rival gangs in hell, and I absolutely love The Dagger and the Flame. And the second book to that series comes out in December, called The Rebel and the Rose, and I'm 100% reading that in December. But also Blood Over Bright Haven is all about dark mages, so definitely like this. And also the detective plot is giving me like the Tainted Cup vibe. So I feel like it's a combo of 3 books that I really love, that I think I'm really going to like this one a lot. So I think we're going to move it up to this month. Okay. Then a couple more fantasy books. Let's just talk about this one because I am going to be reading this one next, and I'm just really excited to read this, and that is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. Now, for me, I do read all of Stephanie Garber's books, and I was very excited to get this book in Book of the Month because I haven't really gotten, like, physical Book of the Month books for a while. Because, you know, again, I don't need any more books added to my TBR, but since they had this one available so early before it comes out, because it doesn't come out till October 7th, I'm 100% getting this. And I am going to be reading this next. So, because I'm reading another book that I will tell you guys about at the end of the fantasy books that I'm reading, but I'm definitely going to be reading it, and I'm going to be reading this one next. So, these are both going to be read regardless. But this is her first adult fantasy book, and this is a movie theater dark academia book, dark academia fantasy book, which as soon as I heard that, and as soon as I heard somebody read the synopsis, I am so excited to read this book. So it says it starts with a class in an old movie theater. This is the last synopsis I'm going to read. I didn't read that many, so these are just some of the newer books that I've picked up. This one says, local legends and urban myths taught by a woman called the Professor. Most students believe the Professor's stories are just fiction, but Holland St. James has always been convinced that magic is real. When she tracks down a local legend named Watchman, who can supposedly tell you when you'll die. Ooh. The world finally makes sense, except that the Watchman tells her she will die at midnight tomorrow unless she finds an ancient object called the alchemical heart. Why can't I say that? With the clock ticking, Holland is pulled deeper into this magical world in the heart of Los Angeles and into the path of a magnetic stranger. Everything about him feels like a bad idea, but he promises Holland that her sister sent him to protect her. As they chase clues and stories that take them closer to the alchemical heart, Holland realizes everyone in this intoxicating new world is lying to her, even this stranger. And if she can't figure out whom to trust, not even the alchemical heart will save her. My God, this sounds so good. I just bent the freaking inside flap. But yes, we're 100% reading this next because I want to read it before it comes out. And I want to read it before launch weekend because next weekend I'm not going to have like that much time to physically read this book because I don't have an audiobook for this because this book isn't even out yet. And I don't think Book of the Month has an audiobook available for this one yet. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see if they do. Probably not though. Honestly, I highly doubt it. Yeah, it says September 2025 audio, and it is not here. But anyway, this is her first adult book, and I feel like yeah, it's not an audiobook, so it's definitely not out yet. I feel like for people that think that Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart is too young for them, I think that this is really smart for her to come out with like an adult fantasy book, because even though both of those series, especially Once Upon a Broken Heart, are really popular and I've read both trilogies, I just really enjoy her magical fairy tale fantasy writing. That's what I'm absolutely craving right now. Is either like a dark fantasy, dark academia book, or like a super magical, immersive fairy tale kind of book. And this is exactly what I want to read. So very excited to read that one. And also, since I just finished The Night Circus, and that was one of the books on my 25 and 2025, and I finally read that book. That book was immaculate, magical vibes for the fall. So highly recommend that one for the fall. And that one's by Erin Morgenstern. And people compare The Night Circus and Caraval very often, but The Night Circus is an adult novel and Caraval is a YA novel. So if you think that Caraval's too young for you and you want those circus magical vibes, check out The Night Circus. But they're very similarly written because they're both magical fairy tale writing, but The Night Circus is definitely for an older audience. So if you're like an adult that's looking for something like super immersive and magical, I think The Night Circus would be perfect for you, because I absolutely loved it. So yeah, so this video is actually not too long. I've only been talking for 28 minutes, and we don't have that many more books to get through. So let's just talk about the last like fantasy book, and then we'll talk about a couple of cozy fantasy books. So the next one, I really do want to read this series before Comic-Con. So this is definitely 100% on my fall TBR, and that is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I've had these books probably like a year now, and it is on my September TBR to read these. So I just want to read some other standalone books and, you know, also arcs before I get into this series. So I'm probably not going to be able to read this series until the end of September. I'm hoping to get to it like the 24th or 25th of September. That should give me enough time to read like the other few books that I have on my September TBR and be able to finish them. So I really do want to read this. And this book doesn't necessarily have a magic system. I actually learned about this on Angelica Nequist's channel when she was talking about when she read The Bridge Kingdom, like I think only a month ago. But I also had read her Fate, Ink, and Blood duology, and I loved that duology, but it's only a duology, so that was a lot easier to finish. And since the second book came out in May, it was very easy to like finish that series because it was a new release this year. But I've been wanting to read The Bridge Kingdom. I've heard nothing but great things about these books. I've heard that the later books are a little bit slower, but I've heard great things about the first two. I'm still going to read the whole series regardless. But this one just takes place in a fantasy world. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of magic or close to none. And I didn't realize that a fantasy book doesn't always have to have magic in it or any type of like magic system. It's just set in a fictional world. And that's what classifies a book to be fantasy or not. And I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, yeah, duh. I mean, if something takes place in a fantasy book, that it's like magical realism fantasy, like a romance magical realism fantasy, like a witch book, like Blood Moon, pretty much. It takes place at a fictional academy, so it's automatically a fantasy book. But also it has vampires and werewolves, which aren't even real. So that's what makes this a dark but it's a darker fantasy romance. So it was just cool to find that out, because like for me, I'm all about fantasy magical books or fantasy books with any kind of magic, but I always thought that that's what classified a book to be a fantasy. I didn't realize like it doesn't even have to have fantasy in it. It just has to be set in a fictional world. So yeah, that was interesting to find out, because for me, when there's some books that don't have that much fantasy or don't have enough magic in them, I kind of get a little bit annoyed because I'm like, where's the magic? But it's like, it doesn't have to have magic in it. So anyway, really want to read this. I have all 5 books on my TBR for September, so I'm hoping to get to it before Comic-Con and this is also on my 25 and 2025. So I really do want to read this series, and also I really do want to just binge a series soon, because I'm getting into the mood of just binging a series. And this one was my top priority for the fall, so I want to read books 1 through 5 before the fall is over. I don't think that's going to be difficult. But then I also want to get to a couple of more series before the year is over that are on my 25 and 2025. But this one I'm going to put on my fall TBR. The other series that I would like to read in the fall, that I don't own physically, and it's on my 25 and 2025 because all these books are on Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't have to buy the physical books. I've just been so thirsty today. So this one is The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, and this is Gods and Monsters #1. This series is extremely popular, and also it is dark fantasy romance, which is what I've been wanting to read. So I would really like to read all three books before the fourth book comes out, which is Wrath of the Fallen, and it comes out October 28th of 2025. So it's the Book of Azrael, Throne of Broken Gods, Dawn of the Cursed Queen, and the Wrath of the Fallen. So I really do want to read all of those before book 4 comes out. That's on my TBR for the end of October. Sorry, this light is bothering me and giving me a headache, so I'm just gonna turn it off because it's too bright. Sorry. I'm just gonna keep my side light on, even though it's like really dark now, but I don't know what else to do about the lighting. Sorry. I'm just getting a massive headache. I don't think that's really gonna help because I could open the blinds. Maybe that'll give me a little bit more light. Okay, yeah, that's better. Now you can see me a little bit better. So, yeah, sorry, I couldn't keep that light on anymore. So, 2 more fantasy books, and these are both cozy fantasy books. The first one I picked up a few months ago, and it's called A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. And this was one of the Barnes & Noble exclusive editions because it has like the sprayed edges, again, like pumpkin spice and everything nice. And it also has, I thought it had an insert of like, yeah, it does. It's really, really pretty. Like the map and everything. I think this one is about vampires too. I'm not necessarily sure. I don't think I ever really read the synopsis of this either. It says, why save the world when you can have tea? So this is just like the perfect book to read in October. I think I put this on my October TBR. And it says, on the streets of White Roaring, Arthi Casimir is a criminal mastermind and collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into an illegal bloodhouse by night, catering to the vampires feared by society. But when her establishment is threatened, Arthi, I don't know why I keep on saying Archie, is forced to strike an unlikely deal with an alluring adversary to save it, and she can't do the job alone. Calling on some of the city's most skilled outcasts, Arthi hatches a plan to infiltrate the sinister, glittering vampire society known as the Ethereum. But not everyone in her raging crew is on her side, and as the truth behind the heist unfolds, Arthi finds herself in the midst of a conspiracy that will threaten the world as she knows it. What? This is not just cozy fantasy. This kind of sounds like high stakes, like vampire fantasy, and I'm here for it. Ooh, I'm so excited. I thought this was like cozy fantasy, but that sounds really, really good. Okay, I'm definitely reading that in October. Okay, next up, and the last fantasy book that I have on this list, because you guys know I love my fantasy books, and then we'll talk about some thrillers, is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. One of my friends gifted this to me for my birthday, and we're supposed to do a buddy read of this book. But I think I'm only going to be getting to the first book this fall because I know the third book comes out in November, but I just have other series that I want to concentrate on and read before the year is over that have been on my TBR way longer. But I really do want to read the first book. And this one is a Dungeons and Dragons cozy fantasy book. And this book is so short. It's only 294 pages. So this is probably a book that I will just read where I stay in all day and just binge this book. And I'm like literally picturing me just like cozied up in a blanket with some tea and these 2 books. If I read them together in one weekend, oh my god, these will be amazing. So I'm definitely going to be reading these 2 books as well. And then the last like dark fantasy romance book that I have, I'm hoping to get to this book. I don't know why I keep on putting this book off when it's literally so freaking short. It's only like 215 pages, and for some reason, I don't know why I keep on putting it off. It's not even 250 pages. I think it's like 209. It's so short. Actually, I think 208 and a half. because it ends on the acknowledgments being on the bottom of the last page, which I've never seen that before. But anyway, it's called Desperate Measures by Katie Robert. And this is the same author that wrote Neon Gods. And I don't think I'm going to be getting to Neon Gods this year, you guys, because it's just like a never-ending series. And I still have not read the first 3 books that I own. But Becca gave me this book because she had bought the special edition of it from Barnes, and she hadn't even realized that she had gotten this book like years ago, and then she hadn't even read the book until she got the special edition of the same book. So since she had 2 copies, she just gave this to me. She's like, I don't need both, so she just gave it to me so I could read it. Not even borrow it. She doesn't even want it back. She's like, here, you can have this. So this one is like a dark Disney like fantasy retelling, and I don't know why in my entire reading journey so far I have not read anything related to Disney whatsoever. I just haven't had the time to pick up some of these books. So this one is a Jafar and Jasmine romance, I'm pretty sure. And it says, my savior or my ruin. One night and my entire life went up in flames, all because of him, Jafar. As my world burned down around me, he offered me a choice. Walk away with nothing but my freedom, or rise to his challenge and win my fortune back. I bargained, I lost. Now Jafar owns me, and even as my mind rails against his rules, my body loves the punishments he deals out when I break them. But a gilded cage is still a prison. I'll do anything to obtain my freedom, even betray the man I'm falling for. So I really need to read this. This like sounds like true enemies to lovers. So, but I've heard that her books are very dark and very spicy, but you know, spice does not bother me whatsoever. But I don't know. She liked my comment back. Yay. But anyway, I really do need to read this because I need to read Katie Roberts' books, because my friend will yell at me if I don't read her books soon, but it's fine. She doesn't care. She knows I'll read it when I can read it. And then the last books on my fall TBR here are just some thriller books. So these are the 4 that I really would like to get to this fall. Honestly, you guys, I have been in such a thriller slump this year. Like, I really just haven't been inspired to pick up thriller books anytime soon. Also because I really have not had a 5-star thriller this year at all. Except for one. But it's not like classified as just a thriller book. It's kind of like a multi-genre book. It's in the general fiction section of Barnes. But it's like a sci-fi thriller book. But it was the only 5-star thriller that I read this year. And I'm classifying it as a 5-star thriller. And that is The Compound by Aisling Rawle. I freaking loved that book. That book was amazing. And I felt like it was such a unique concept in the sci-fi thriller genre, so I loved it. I loved that book. So these are the few that I'm hoping to get to in the fall. Honestly, the only ones that I've picked up and read recently was just The Tenant by Frida McFadden, which came out in June, I believe. I read that one, and then I had just read Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, which came out in August. Was it August? Or was it July? I think it came out at the end of July. Yeah. And those were the only 2 that I read the past, like, few months. I really have not felt drawn to reading thrillers this year, really. I've only read, like, maybe a handful of thrillers this year. So, but honestly, I don't really get in the mood to read them until, like, the fall rolls around or the winter time. So I'm hoping to read these 4. Some of them have been sitting on my TBR for a while, and one of them I've picked up more recently. So the first one, you guys know, you've seen this book like 5 bajillion times. I think I'm going to read this in October as opposed to September, though. I mean, at least I read The Night Circus, and I'm going to be reading The Bridge Kingdom, and those are both books on my 25 and 2025. This book is as well, so I should be able to read this next month, and I think that because it's October, I really just want to read this in October, and I think I just want to read as much of the Bridge Kingdom as possible at the end of this month, so I don't think I'm going to read this. I think I might read something else to replace this one, and that is Stephen King's Billy Summers. I'm not even going to really talk about it. I'm just going to show it to you, and that's it, because this is on my TBR for this month, and I've put it on my TBR probably for the past, 3 months at this point, and I still haven't freaking read it. I had started listening to the audiobook. That's why there's still a bookmark in here, and then I just simply stopped. But I was enjoying it so much when I was reading it, so we need to read this. I'm not even going to waste the time talking about it, because it's going to be read eventually. I think I'm going to read it as soon as Larry Reads picks it up, because she said that she wants to do, an entire, Stephen King, spooky October week of Stephen King books. I'm pretty sure she wants to do it in October. And she wants to read it along with 11/22/63 and I think Misery. So I'm if she's gonna pick it up soon, I might as well, and then I don't feel as bad waiting, because I feel like that'll be the perfect time to read it, because then it feels like I'm buddy reading it with her, even though she does know, she doesn't know who I am, but she still shouted me out on her video when I sent her a book, because she always does unboxings of subscribers' gifts and stuff to her. And she did mention me she usually gives everyone a full minute, which is so sweet. And then she has loved some of my comments that I've left on her videos. So yeah. So the next one is a British author that I only heard about from, I didn't realize Ruth Ware wrote a blurb on the top of and they mentioned, I can't speak anymore. I've been talking so long. What is wrong with me? I need to relax today because I'm really tired, and this was my only day off after working the past 4 days. But we only have 3 more books to talk about, so let's just finish this up. So let me just say which book this is, because I only heard about this author on Francesca Reed's YouTube channel, and she is strictly a thriller girly book channel, but some of the books that she had recommended that I had read recently, I didn't really love, so I kind of put off some of the thriller books that I've been wanting to read because I've heard about on her channel. But she always raves about this one author, and also she is a British author, and usually for me, the only good thriller books that I had read this year was in January by Alice Feeney, because I absolutely loved Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Beautiful Ugly. Honestly, Beautiful Ugly was the closest 5-star thriller read for me this year, because I absolutely loved that book. And the audiobook is literal perfection. If you do anything, if you listen to one audiobook this year, it has to be Beautiful Ugly. I'm telling you guys, the audiobook is immaculate. I love it so much, and I'm so glad I listened to the audiobook. But this one is called I See You by Claire McIntosh, and I've had this book almost a year, I think. And I was kind of inspired to pick this up a couple of months ago, but then I just simply didn't. I would like to read this. Maybe I might have a full week of thrillers. I'm not really sure, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit those in. But I'm hoping to get to that one. And then the other one is one by an author, is by Chris Whitaker. And Felicia had read this book, I think, a couple of months ago, and she absolutely loved this book. And she said it's absolutely worth the hype, even though this is honestly probably the longest thriller book I'm ever going to read, because it's almost 600 pages. And I'm Felicia, I'm going to need some time to dedicate to this book, but I've been wanting to read this because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. And also, Books with Emily Fox also raved about this book on her channel, and she absolutely loved it. and it's called All the Colors of the Dark, and this was one of the Barnes & Noble monthly picks. I don't think I've ever even read the synopsis, so let's read it really quick. It says, in Montclair, Missouri in 1975, Patch, a poor boy from the wrong side of town, emerges as a local hero after saving the life of a wealthy family's daughter. In doing so, he leaves heartache in his wake. Patch soon discovers that the line between triumph and tragedy has never been finer, and that his act of bravery might just cost him everything. Okay, that sounds really good. I really want to read that. And then the last thriller on my list is from an author that I've heard mixed things about, but I've had this book for over a year. I purchased it at the Strand in the city. Hold on. I purchased it at the Strand in the city last year, and that is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I've heard that this book is better than The Midnight Feast. A lot of people did not like The Midnight Feast, so I've been wanting to read this during the spooky season, and this is such a short synopsis on the back. It says, a New Year's reunion in the remote Scottish wilderness. A beautiful one, the golden couple, the volatile one, the new parents, the quiet one, the city boy, the outsider. One of these friends is a murderer, and one won't make it out alive. So I really want to read that too. So that is all the books on my fall TBR. I probably forgot half of them, but these are all the books on my fall physical TBR. So I really do want to get to most of these in the fall. And then the one I'm currently reading, which is honestly, I'm freaking loving this book, and I've been seeing this book everywhere, and I'm absolutely loving it. And this is definitely 100% a fall book. And I'm so glad that I picked this book up next, right after Night Circus, because again, this is what I've been craving right now, and that is Immortal Consequences by I.V. Marie. This is a Trials in Hell book, and y'all know, like, I eat up trials, but also I eat up anything that's set in hell too. I absolutely just love it, and it's a dark academia fantasy trials book, and I'm like, say less, okay? Say less. It's so good so far. I'm on page 127, and so far the audiobook has been amazing. I've only read like 35 pages of the physical book because I did work a really long shift yesterday, but I finished the Night Circus on my break yesterday. But I'm going to read a ton of this starting right now, because I have like a few hours before I have to get ready for a date later, so I'm very excited about that. So yeah, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819, and check out my TikTok and my Goodreads in the links below in the description box, and let me know what's on your fall TBR, and have you read any of these books? I really would like to know. Usually no one comments on my videos. When I ask this every single time, I literally have not had like maybe one book comment on my book videos. But also, I didn't want to put any of my other 25 and 2025 books on this list because these two are on it, along with Book of Azrael. Those are all 25 and 2025 books, and then mostly the other ones I'm not going to get to until November or December because they're more so higher fantasy books. And I really want to get to some higher fantasy books in November and December. So those are going to be on my winter TBR video or winter TBR list. So yeah, that is it. And happy reading and have a great day. Bye. Hey guys, so I wanted to add a little bit more to this video because I forgot a couple of books that I wanted to talk about. But I wanted to make this video my physical books on my physical TBR, you know, and then the other books are just like books I'm going to be reading on my Kindle or like ARC reads. So, and I already know I'm going to be reading these books, so, but they're really good like fall books to read. So I'm just gonna say them really quick because they're still on my TBR. Just want to pull up the first one. I don't know where the hell it is for some reason. Hold on. You fucking idiot. I'm like pretty pissed right now because the guy I was supposed to like go out with tonight like canceled on me. like an hour and a half before I was supposed to get ready to go out. So I'm really mad. I ended up just staying in and reading Immortal Consequences all night by Ivy Marie, and I'm on page 280 now, and I'm eating this shit up. It's so good. So anyway, the first arc that I'm going to be reading this next weekend, because I want to read Immortal Consequences and then Alchemy of Secrets and then Atmosphere, and then I'm going to read this book. So it's Road Trip with a Vampire by Jenna Levine, and this is the third book in the My Vampires series, and this is the third book that Jenna Levine has written. Why did I say that so weird? Has written. And I've read the other two books during like the like fall season usually, because they usually come out then. And this book is just so much fun, and these books are just hilarious, so I'm super excited to get to that one very soon. And then the other arc that I'm going to be reading very soon, I did mention these in my summer TBR, in my September TBR. And the next one, why don't these come up? Like, seriously, why? I really don't know. I guess I need to type in the author, because I don't know why these books aren't coming up for me. It's literally called, whatever. I can't believe this is, how is this not on my want to read list, but I have an arc of it. And I literally showed this screenshot of it from Goodreads when I talked about it on my October TBR, Jesus Christ, my September TBR. Anyway, this is called The Secret of Orange Blossom Cake by Rachel Linden. This is also my third book by this author as well. So it's my third book by Jenna Levine and also my third book by Rachel Linden. I received this arc like a few months back, and the same thing with My Road Trip with a Vampire, and this one comes out September 30th. My Road Trip with a Vampire comes out September 23rd. So I'm definitely 100% reading this next week. Very excited to read that one. And then the other one is, actually there's two more that I want to talk about. This one is the second book in a series that I read the first book last year during Halloween. Actually, there's two more I want to talk about. And it's called What the Hex by Jessica Clare. I'm definitely reading this in October because I really enjoyed the first one. It's called Go Hex Yourself. These are spicy, witchy romance books, and the first one was so funny and so good. So I really want to read the second one because it's on Kindle Unlimited. No, not Kindle Unlimited. It's on Kindle for like $4. So honestly, I was like, why the hell am I going to buy the physical book when I can just read it on Kindle Unlimited? And then the other book that actually came out, I think like September 2nd, and I read the first book last year, literally on Halloween, so I'm 100% reading this during the week of Halloween. I wasn't going to read it this month because I really want to have the Halloween vibes again. The first book was called, what was it called? Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist, and it's the Maple Hollow series, and the second book is called Curses and Cold Brew. Definitely reading this. This is like a Halloween sapphic paranormal rom-com. A cozy sapphic paranormal rom-com. Like, what else could you need in a romance book for the fall? So, and especially during Halloween. And the first one gave me such nostalgic, like, Halloween vibes, and the setting of the Halloween vibes in the book were so immaculate. So, definitely reading this. And then the last one is One More Thriller, which this is probably going to be the only thriller that I end up getting to because, again, Frida's books are the only ones that I've been picking up when it comes to thriller reads this year, besides like a handful of other ones that I was wanting to read this year, but her books are just so easy to binge and to pick up and read. So this is now going to be the third book that she comes out with in 2025. The first one was The Crash, which I did not like at all. The second one was The Tenant, which was good but not great, but it was definitely better than The Crash. The Crash was awful. That was like my least favorite book from her. That book was so bad. But then the third book that she's coming out with October 7th is The Intruder. And I do want to read this. And I actually haven't read the synopsis for this one. It says, who knows what the storm will blow in? Casey's cabin in the wilderness is not built for a hurricane. Her roof shakes, the lights flicker, and the tree outside her front door sways ominously in the wind. But she's a lot more worried about the girl she discovers lurking outside her kitchen window. She's young, she's alone, and she's covered in blood. The girl won't explain where she came from or loosen her grip on the knife in her right hand. And when Casey makes a disturbing discovery in the middle of the night, things take a turn for the worse. The girl has a dark secret, one she'll kill to keep. And if Casey gets too close to the truth, she may not live to see the morning. This one actually sounds pretty good. Even though The Crash synopsis sounded really good too, and I did not like it, this one sounds good. Okay, and then I just wanted to talk about, before I drop my fucking phone, some shows I'm wanting to get to this fall season, because I did finish the Beartown miniseries like last week, but also me and my family have been watching a couple of shows together, and also I started watching the second season of a show with my best friend that like gives like ultimate fall vibes and spooky vibes and all of that. So definitely number one is going to be Wednesday, season 2. That's the one I've been watching with my best friend. We're 3 episodes in. We're probably just going to watch more this coming Monday, and we're going to keep on watching it until we finish it. So we're definitely watching that. That's definitely something I'm going to be finishing. Also, I'm watching with my family Only Murders in the Building, season 5. We watch every single season of this show. We love it. It's so funny. It's with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. And it was a 3-episode premiere when it came out a couple days ago. So now we're just going to be continuing watching it until we finish it. And then the other one is The Baking Show, which we watch every single summer into fall. As it always comes out the first week of September, and then we just watch it throughout every week that the episode comes out. So definitely watching that. But those are not all like on my watch list, because they're all shows I'm like currently watching with my family or my friends. So the ones that I want to watch myself, number 1 is going to be The Sandman. I know that there was a lot of controversy that surrounded this show, but I do want to finish it because I did get halfway through it with my family, and then my mom said she didn't want to watch it anymore. And then she said like a couple of weeks ago that she was like, well, since there's nothing else on, we can watch the show. And it's just so frustrating to watch some things with my family sometimes, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch it myself. And I feel like Sandman is going to be like the closest thing for me to watch anything that's like remotely like giving me the vibes of like everything that I want to read right now, because Sandman is based on a book. I'm not saying the author's name because I'm not supporting the author. 0% not supporting the author. I might not even watch it on Netflix anymore because I don't want Netflix well, it's not Netflix's fault that they finished the season. They wanted to finish the season because they didn't want to just scrap it, and I get they just ended the show. So they did cancel the show because of everything that was going on with the author. So anyway, I really want to watch that, and I think it's the only thing that's going to give me like the dark fantasy, dark vibes that I've been craving, like from like Immortal Consequences and like the books that I want to read right now. So I thought that would be like a really good choice to watch. And then I also really want to watch the new season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I've watched every single season of that show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. And the new season just finished, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I think it's season 14 or 15. I don't even know at this point. But I had just caught up with the last season that came out in 2023, right before the next season came out for this past season, which was like season 15. So, but the thing is that with Sunny, I put it off for a while because they only release it every 2 years. So and it takes me like no time to finish it because it's only like 20-minute episodes and there's only like 8 episodes. So you finish it in like 3 days. Like I binged the last season that I watched in like 3 days. It took me like no time. And that was me like spreading it out and stuff. And I'm going to be so upset once I finish the season and then I have to wait another 2 years for the next one to come out. I'm going to be like almost 40 by the time the next season of It's Always Sunny comes out. But I really do want to watch it soon. So that's definitely on my list. And then what else? Sandman and Wednesday are definitely like the big like fall vibe kind of shows that I'm going to be watching. But what else? Where is it? Series I want to watch? I could have sworn I had a list, and I don't know where the hell it is. Hold on a second. Now I remember what the other two were. So the other one is Andor Season 2, and I would have already watched this show with my family, but we got into like a big fight that night, so they ended up watching the entire thing without me, and I took a big break from watching things with them because, like I said, that's why it's such a hard, it's so hard to watch things with them. So I had given up watching things with them. I'm like, I'm done because, like, they're pieces of shit sometimes. So, I really do want to watch season 2 of that, but I would have already been caught up with that if I would have watched it with them because usually for me, like, now I've just been taking a big break from watching shows and just been reading a lot more. But I did get into that groove where I was catching up on shows lately, like in July and August, and I had finished Desperate Housewives. I had caught up with Always Sunny. I watched the Sirens miniseries. I watched the Anxious People miniseries, but that was not good. I finished Yellowstone and I watched the Beartown miniseries. So I had finished a full show because I was watching Desperate Housewives and I finally decided to finish it. So I watched the last 2.5 seasons, and then Sunny I caught up with. And then the Sirens was just a miniseries, and so was Anxious People and Beartown. So they were all like 5 or 6 episodes, so they weren't that long. And then Yellowstone, I just had the second half of the final season. So I was doing pretty good, and then I kind of dropped off again and wasn't watching anything. So because I just wanted to read. So I did want to watch Andor, and then there was another one on here that I wanted to watch with my family. And then my mom and my brother watched the entire thing without me too. Even though I had told her I wanted to watch it. And then she watched the entire thing with my brother. And then the same thing with Daredevil. So that's why I was so happy that I watched Daredevil with my best friend. That's why we just decided to watch Wednesday. Because I'm like, I know I'm not going to watch it with them. And I have a feeling my mom didn't even want to watch the second season. So I'm like, I don't even care about waiting for them to watch shows with my best friend anymore. I'm just going to watch it with him because I don't care. So, yeah, I wanted to watch this show called Mid-Century Modern, which is a gay romance show with Nathan Lane. It's kind of similar to Will and Grace, which is like my favorite show of all time. And they just watched it without me. So maybe I'll get that this fall, but honestly, that's not really on my fall watch list. So we will see. Honestly, the shows I had already mentioned, like Andor and also Severance. I really would like to finish season 2 of Severance, but the reason why I haven't is because I got 3 episodes in with my ex and then I never, finished the season because we were supposed to watch it together, but, shit didn't work out, so we ended up not watching it. And then the other one I would like to finish as well is The Penguin, which is, the Batman show about the Penguin, the villain in Batman, with Colin Farrell playing the Penguin, which is literal perfection. And that was also a show that I was watching with my ex and then never finished it because he's a piece of shit. So anyway, and then I really would like to finish Community as well. Community is also another show I watched with him but never finished. And I would like to just finish it myself. So, because it was so funny. And I want to watch like the new show. And also there's a new show of Frasier. There's a new show of How I Met Your Father. So there's still a lot of shows that I need to watch. And also I really want to watch Firefly Lane as well, because that's the series adaptation of the book. But also I feel like since the book is a 6-star devastating read for me, I might just cry my eyes out again if I watch Firefly Lane. And I don't know if I can relive it. So, and then the other one is Abbott Elementary, which is again another show that I was supposed to watch with my ex, but we never did. So at least I would be able to watch that show and not relive that fucking trauma. So, yeah, so I have quite a few shows on my list. And then the other, I'm not going to go through all of them. Those are just the ones that I really would like to get to. I'm definitely going to watch Wednesday. I'm definitely going to watch Sandman. And I'm definitely going to watch and finish Only Murders in the Building and The Baking Show. Like, those are all, like, givens. But I think, like, the only one that I would like to watch on my own is Sandman, because I'm already halfway through it. I just want to finish it, and that would take me, like, the least amount of time then. And then there's also 2 animes. I'm not, like, a huge anime person, but I do love Sailor Moon. Like, I grew up watching Sailor Moon, and I loved it. And then I watched Avatar, and I watched Legend of Korra with my ex as well, but I loved those shows and I really would like to rewatch them. But those aren't really animes. I'm talking about like anime shows. Like, my best friend really loves anime and he really wants me to watch these 2 animes specifically. So the first one is called Free Run, and I really do want to watch that. So I'm hoping to watch that at least before Comic-Con, because he, like, you know, wanted me to at least watch at least one of them before Comic-Con. And then the other one is Spy Family. And Spy Family is, like, always, like, the main sponsor of Comic-Con. But he actually said that Spy Family, for the first time, is not the main sponsor of Comic-Con this year. But I still kind of want to watch it. But I might not even watch that until, like, next year before Comic-Con. So, yeah. And then what was the other one that I was going to say? That's really it. I don't really have any fall movies on my watch list. But I think that's a pretty good list of shows. Oh, I still never finished the series. I never watched the series finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I think I'm ready to watch it. I think I might just watch that so I can finally finish the series. But I've been putting it off for so long, because that's one of my favorite shows of all time. And then I think that'll inspire me to watch Sunny. Because I don't know if I just need to watch comedies right now, and then I'll just watch Sandman when it gets, like, really, like, the fall season. Because Sunny's just so easy for me to finish, and if I just finish Curb Your Enthusiasm, I'm just so, like, depressed about finishing it, though. That's the thing, like, I'm a huge mood watcher now at this point. I have to be more so in the mood to watch a show than I am to read a book. Like, my TBR is like my TBR. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm just following my TBR to the T. This month, I'm not, because I mood read the entire month last month. Even though I had a TBR for that, it was still a mood reading TBR. Like, I didn't have to follow any prompts. So that counts as a mood reading TBR for me. And also because it was my birthday month, I just wanted to read the books that I really wanted to read in August. But this month, I'm sticking to my TBR because I just need a schedule this month, because it's going to get crazy when the phones launch next week. And if I didn't have a set TBR this month, I feel like I would have just been, like, just so disorganized, because I read to calm me down, obviously. So, yeah, those are all the things on my watch list and on my fall TBR. And now I'm going to shut up. And I made this video way longer than it should have been. So, yeah, now I'm going to say bye again. So, bye.